So the film story starts from a very big snowy area where we see a man whose name is Overguard. He is a pilot and his plane has been destroyed in this snowy area. Now because he was stuck here, he was very worried and starts waiting for help. Then he writes a very big SOS there, which is a sign of someone being called for help. He also made it so that if a plane passes through here, he will know that he is stuck here and they will save him. He didn't even have a map with him, through which he can know where he is at this time. But then he makes a map from his own book. Now as the days go by, his concern was increasing that he might get stuck here. Due to the destruction of the plane, his entire radio system was also destroyed, from which he calls someone for help. He stays here in his plane and waits for help. The next day when he wakes up, he was very hungry. That's why he sets traps to catch fish under the snow so that if any fish gets stuck in it, he can eat it. He also succeeds in catching a lot of fish. 2 to 3 days pass here, but no one comes here to save him. After waking up every morning, he would eat a fish and then take his machine to go to high places, so that the signals coming out of the machine can be seen by a helicopter or plane, or if someone catches a TMU signal and comes to save him. The next day, he makes every place on the map where he sat and sent signals through the machine. But unfortunately, after 4 to 5 days, no one saw his signal. Overguard used to go to a place every day where he had kept some stones. He used to talk to them. Then when he comes back to his plane, he sees that someone has broken his box and taken all the fish from there. When he looks around, he doesn't see anything. But then as soon as he looks at his feet, he sees a lot of big footprints of the snowy ridge. When he sees it, he gets very scared and comes back to his plane. He starts thinking that now he has not one but 2 problems for him. He not only has to stay away from the friend but also from the ridge. Otherwise he will kill him. The next day, he takes the signal machine and goes to the T and starts looking at the mountains far away, where he also sees the snowy ridge, but he was far away from it. The ridge had also seen it, but instead of coming near it, it starts going the other way. Now every day he sends signals from his machine, and as soon as he sees the machine, green lights shine on it. This means that no one has received his signal yet. Seeing this, he gets very disappointed and starts thinking that I don't know how many more days I will be able to live here. Now at a distance, he sees a helicopter. When he sees it, he was very happy and starts screaming. He burns something to focus on himself. His plan is successful because people see it and start coming towards it. There is no place for the happiness of the Overguard. But then suddenly the weather starts getting bad there, because there was a storm there, because of which the helicopter could not handle it and was destroyed there. Seeing this, the Overguard gets very disappointed and starts going to the helicopter. When he comes close, he sees that the pilot has died due to a head injury, but the passenger in the helicopter was still alive. Just because of the injury, she was unconscious. The Overguard takes the pilot out and starts checking the girl. He sees that there is a big cut on the girl's stomach. Then he picks up the medical box kept in the helicopter and massages it. He breaks the helicopter door and puts the girl on it, and he pulls her back to his plane. After coming to the plane, the girl comes to her senses. She asks the Overguard about the pilot. He tells her that the poor guy has been killed. Hearing this, the girl takes so much tension that she becomes unconscious again. Now because the Overguard had to do his job, he thinks of leaving. But as he leaves a note for the girl, on which he writes that don't worry, I will come back in a while. After this, he leaves his plane. He comes back to the helicopter and buries the pilot in the snow and prays. After this, he starts taking all the necessary things from the helicopter. He also gets a picture in the luggage, which he sees and finds out that the pilot and the girl were husband and wife. He starts putting all this stuff on a sled, that is, on the snow cart, and starts going back. On the way, he writes a message on the helicopter that 2 people are still alive here, so that if someone comes by helicopter now, he can save them too. After which he starts going towards his plane. When he comes back, he again cures the wound of the girl. It had been a week since he was here, so he starts crying, thinking himself alone. He takes care of himself and starts looking at the map he made, and he tries to find out where he is right now. This map was also found in the helicopter. In the map, he also finds some rescue points nearby. That is, wherever he goes, it is possible to save them. Suddenly, the trap that he had set up to catch fish starts making a noise. When he goes out to check, he sees that a very big fish is stuck in his trap. Now there were some noodles in the luggage, which he cooks with the fish. And today, after a long time, he gets to eat hot food. He also brings the girl to his senses and feeds her a little food. But she was not eating properly because she was still unconscious. Now the signal machine goes far away again. At the same time, he was keeping an eye on his plane. Now, as he does this, a few more days pass by. The girl's health was deteriorating day by day. The medicines in the medical box were also not affecting her. Seeing all the situation, the overguard thinks of going to the nearby rescue point. He had stored a lot of fish with him so that he could use his food during the journey. Apart from this, he also takes water and other necessities and puts them on the sled. After which he puts the girl in his sleeping bag and puts her on the sled, because he was also taking her with him. The last time he sees his plane, after which he ties the sled rope to his stomach and starts leaving. The overguard was worried about the girl on the way. That's why he checks her and tries to get her water, so that her health does not deteriorate further. He deliberately talks to her so that the girl does not feel alone, and she feels that someone is with her. Seeing this, he crosses the road a little. Now the day starts to pass and he was also very tired. That's why he stops at this place, makes a snow cave and rests there. After this, he moves forward again. There was a lot of cold here and the situation was very difficult. But in this difficult time, he was also taking care of the girl, which is a difficult task. After going a little further, he sees a hill on which it was very difficult to climb. He was very surprised to see this hill, because according to the map, there was no hill on his way. Now he starts to doubt that he has come on the wrong way. Then to check, he goes up and sees that the road ahead is completely clear. So obviously it will be easy to go ahead from there. That's why he first pulls his luggage and takes it up. And when he was taking the girl up through the sled, she was coming down again and again. Because the weight was heavy, he tries to climb it up a lot, but fails. After which he sits there and makes another way to go to the rescue point. He was also worried that it would take 2 days to go to the rescue point from this road. But now the new way he will go, it will take 5 days. The tension was that the food was also less and the girl's condition was so bad that she could have died. But despite this, he has the courage and decides that whatever happens, I will go through this new way. After which he takes his luggage down and starts walking on this new road. A little further, he finds a cave where he stops and cooks food and feeds the girl every day. But his condition was even worse. His body starts turning black. It felt like his blood was freezing. Apart from this, the gas in his stove had also run out. When he saw that, his problems increased. He sat quietly and was just thinking that then someone's voice starts to come out. When he hears it, he recognizes that it is snowing outside. He was very scared, so he remains calm. No one makes a sound. But at this time, the girl starts coughing. With this, Rich knows that there is someone inside, so he tries to come inside. But because the way to the cave was very small, he could not come inside. Rich was so clever that he breaks the ice and starts making a way to come inside. The overguard gets very scared and starts looking for a flare gun in his luggage, which he could not find. But after a lot of searching, he finally finds it, which he burns and scares Rich. Scared, Rich also runs away from there. After a while, the overguard comes out and starts to see if Rich is around. But when he does not see him, he quietly starts to leave with his luggage and the girl. But as he moves forward, a snowstorm starts to come. He could not see anything ahead, so he could not move forward. He pulls the girl down from the sled and puts the sled in front of him. He and the girl were behind him, so that the snow does not fall on them. Then he also goes and lies in the sleeping bag in which the girl was. Then after a while, when the storm stops a little, he starts to give her water. But her condition was so bad that her mouth did not open. Suddenly she coughs, after which blood starts to come out of her mouth. Now when the overguard cuts her wound, he finds out that the girl has got an infection. With this, the girl becomes unconscious again. After a while, the overguard thinks that the girl is dead. Or even if she does not die, she is going to die in a while. There will be no point in taking her forward. Because of this, the overguard is sad. But what does he do? He leaves the girl there and goes alone from there. Because if he had taken her with him, he could not have been saved. Because there was no hospital nearby. After going a little further, he falls into the pit, because of which he was immediately unconscious. He also gets a lot of injuries. Then when he comes to his senses, he sees that his leg is stuck in some stones. He tries to get out of there again and again, but the stones were so heavy that he could not get out of there. He was very scared and starts crying. He immediately understands that now I will not be saved either. My time to die is also near. Here he also starts to regret his mistake, that I should not have left that girl alone, because it is possible that I may have been punished for this. After listening to this, he gets a hope, after which it is very difficult to get out of the pit by removing his leg from under the stone. His leg was very injured and bleeding, but he ties his wound with a cloth so that his blood does not freeze. Then he somehow comes back to the place where he left the girl. He sees that the girl's condition is now improving. He was also conscious, and as soon as he opens his eyes, he says hello to the overguard. After that he was very sad and starts crying. He also apologizes to the girl. The girl takes care of him, but that poor guy was in a lot of pain, because he had a very deep wound on his leg. But then, bearing the pain, he puts the girl and the stuff on the sled and moves forward again. This time he also uses the whip. After walking for a while, he finally reached the rescue point. He himself goes up and looks. At some distance, he sees a helicopter. When he sees it, he gets very happy and starts screaming and calling the people at the rescue point. Apart from this, he also fires a flare gun to distract them, but unfortunately, they do not pay any attention to it. He was just about to take the helicopter from there. Now, seeing this, the overguard burns his jacket with the help of the flare gun, so that they can focus on it after seeing this big fire. But this does not help either, because the helicopter starts going the other way. See this, the little courage of the overguard also breaks. He was very disappointed, after which he takes the girl's hand in his hand and lies down there. Now his whole courage had been answered. But then we see that the helicopter starts going around and getting behind them, after which they are saved immediately. This story is actually about courage and courage. No matter how difficult the situation is, we should never give up courage. Whose living example is the overguard, who saved the girl's life in such a difficult situation. All this could be done with only one thing, and that is courage, which was more inside him. So we also learn from this story that we should always have the courage to overguard. With this, fantastic film ends here.